All right, here we are again. Boy, that week went by fast. I
Yeah.
couldn't stop thinking about all the topics we covered on last week's episode, and we're, we're still getting a lot of comments on, people just blown away from some of the things you talked about. So we'll have to touch on that point in some future podcasts. That was very
Sure.
interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was good. I've been thinking about the future of hydroponics, but really, the future of hydroponics is what the Dutch were doing 20 years ago. you know, so and what they've been building on. But well, it was a good talk that we had, and things to think about. We need to. It's an important topic too, to be able to feed the world in an environmentally responsible way.
That's right. That's right. And that'll tie us into um, a lot of issues that we deal with some of our customers, and the term organic hydroponic. So,
Right.
organic hydroponic, boy, so many people really want to do it. And there are people that are doing it, and there are companies that are doing it, but it is a great challenge. It's very, very hard. There's really not a lot of direct replacements for the nutrients that you usually use in a regular hydroponic growing operation. There's not direct organic replacements to do that. So you have to be a little bit crafty and a little bit preparation and use some soil. Have some type of soil substrate is what we've had our best success for. But I wanted to let you know some of these new products that we've developed and we've been working on. We'll be offering these to our customers here shortly. But we have an organic replacement now for calcium nitrate and an organic replacement for potassium nitrate. Both very unique products because calcium nitrate is the most commonly used nutrient in a hydroponic base of anything else out there. And last week we were talking about limited resources, and some of these things may not be available. But now, for those customers that really want to try to do an organic program, the organic version of calcium nitrate, it's 8% nitrogen and 12% calcium,
Hmm.
and all in organic form. You can run it through your reservoir. It's soluble. We're really excited about that. And it'll be kind of a new thing on the market. It really hasn't been available yet. So we're real excited about that.
Yeah, I'd love to try it too. Of course, I've been doing hydroponics for years, and when I start a new formula, the very first thing I look at is calcium, and I provide in normal hydroponics, all of the calcium comes from calcium nitrate. But in
Mhm.
organic growing, the as soon as you add calcium nitrate, you lose organic certification. I thought, well, there's most of the calcium out there. Other choices, calcium phosphate, no, it's 95% insoluble. That's what your bones are made out of. Calcium sulfate gypsum, that's what plaster of Paris is made out of. It's 98% insoluble. So I felt like I didn't want to use calcium chloride because I don't want all that chloride. That can be toxic in a hurry. So I just said, well, I guess, we just can't do, unless we're working around the bush, we can't do organic hydroponics. But it's great to hear that there's an alternative, there's a solution. And I'm curious to learn more about it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then the replacement for potassium nitrate. That's another very common additive in hydroponics, and a big hurdle for some people to get over not being able to have use that. So now our organic replacement for potassium nitrate, it is an 8012 analysis, and all with organic products. So it'll be very versatile to work those into some systems. And potassium nitrate, that is a difficult product to source. It's a difficult product to store, and there's a lot of regulation surrounding that product. So it's not as available as one would think. So this organic replacement will be very helpful for some of our customers.
Hmm. Yeah, well, here you go too. When I'm doing a normal conventional hydroponics, I do the calcium nitrate for all the calcium, some of the nitrogen, but the rest of the nitrogen, guess where it comes from? Potassium nitrate. So if I
Right.
eliminated calcium nitrate and potassium nitrate, there's no nitrogen and there's no calcium. So
Yeah.
those are very, very important things. So that's pretty cool. Um, what can you tell us much about the product? Have you done any trials or anything on different crops?
You bet. We worked a lot with it on strawberries. It's been very
Mm,
versatile, with organic strawberry producers. Uh, a lot of the, I guess, they're not really hydroponic, but they are, indoor strawberry growing operations. They do have the beds in some soil substrate because, that's the only way we can work in our phosphorus.
mm,
Very important. We have to amend the soil with phosphorus organically. Um, and then, boy, that leads us to another topic. Then phosphorus is very hard to get, solubilized in organics. And so we do
mhm.
offer one soluble product. It's called our triple threat products. And it's 6% soluble phosphate. So it's very versatile. Um, the only problem is it's hard to get the percentage of phosphorus uh, in your water or in your reservoir just with that one product. So we do have an option for soluble phosphate with our triple threat, but a lot of times the soil needs to be amended with different types of organic phosphate sources. So really good, uh, really good results in strawberries. Uh, really good results in cannabis operations that are in soil, but they still feed it hydroponically, so to speak.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we've had some really good reports on it, some really good results, and I think we're going to move forward with those. So I'm really excited about it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds exciting. I'd like to try it. Maybe next summer I'll try it in my outdoor hydroponics just
I'll
to give
send
it
you a
a
whole
test.
bunch. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'll send you a bunch, and you're lucky because we we don't send out free samples anymore. We just get overwhelmed with everybody wanting a sample. But for you, my friend, you have definitely earned it. We're sending you free samples.
Oh yeah. I like it. And yeah, and I'm always curious to learn more about the products themselves and how they work and things like that we can talk about to a degree. We can't tell all of our secrets. We're
Mhm.
careful there, especially recipes, but the science part, and so it's interesting. So the nitrogen is in a form in those new products that the plants can use because they usually use ammonium or nitrate. Um,
Yeah.
and so what form of nitrogen would it be that would be available to plants?
Yeah, good question. So we call this product our protein nitrogen, and it's a
Uh,
plant sourced protein nitrogen. And if you really break it down, it is in the form of amino acids, which will convert to ammonia. And
uh,
it's not a direct replacement for the nitrate, but through the cycle, and especially if you have soil, you get that conversion into nitrate. So
hmm
again, there's some limiting factors, but however, with a little adjustments and being a little more patient on your plant response and your feeding schedule, it has been very successful. And again, it's not a direct replacement, but it's options. It's things we can do. So, yeah, it's in the form of protein or amino acids to begin with.
Okay, that's very interesting. If when I do my experiments with it on my trials, I think I'm going to try to design, and I've been thinking about this for years too, is for organic hydroponics is to add a biofilter. I don't know if you've ever thought of that. Like they do in aquaponics, they have or in even aquaculture, you have a biofilter because there's bacteria that aid in the conversion of
Hmm.
nitrogen to make it more
Yeah.
plant available. I thought, well, what if I added just a biofilter to the system? Good aeration in that and my active, enthusiastic community of plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, especially the nitrogen, not necessarily nitrogen fixers, but the ones that convert ammonium to nitrites and nitrites to nitrates so that they're more available to the plant. And if you had an amino acid or protein-based source, the microbes would love it. I mean, that's what they eat in nature. That's part of nature. So anyway, I'm thinking out loud here. How would I use that product? I would add one component, physical component, I think, to my recirculating system. But just a thought.
Yeah, that's good. And we always recommend that our customers that use that in their system use some of our inoculant powders with it, just to
Yeah.
make it, yeah, to speed up the process, just exactly what you said. And with all this discussion with organic hydroponics, there's always been a limiting factor as well. It's the carbon buildup, because many organic nutrients have a lot of carbon involved, and
Hmm.
so it's been a limiting factor as far as some of the residues and some of the long-term detriments of having too much carbon and so on and so
Hmm.
forth. And it takes us back to, again, using the inoculant powders with that, and the enzyme powders, and so on and so forth. And with soil, when your plants are in soil, it's not really as much as an issue if you're doing straight hydro, but that is another learning curve, doing an organic system. And it kind of goes right along with what you were talking about previously as well.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that putting the microbes in line in some form would be helpful because they will burn off some of the carbohydrates into carbon dioxide and water. We can off gas some of the excess carbon that way if you have good
Mhm.
respiration. But I think oxygen is going to be the key there again to keep that dissolved oxygen rate high and the temperatures in the right zone. I think those two things will be, I'm not going to say critical, but be beneficial.
And when you say temperatures in the right zone, are you talking in the dark temperatures and in the light temperatures? Uh, kind of with your experience, kind of expand on that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the root zone temperatures for cellular metabolism or metabolism of
Oh.
microorganisms or cellular metabolism of root cells. You know, plants need oxygen for metabolism chemically, but they also need temperature. The warmer the temperature, the faster the chemical reactions can take place. The problem is if the temperature gets too warm, then the warmer the temperatures, the less dissolved oxygen that'll be held in the water. So then oxygen becomes the limiting factor. So to find that Goldilocks just right, not too warm, not too cool. But root zone temperature to me is very important, and it's going to be important for microbes. If I brew you make microorganisms, I mean, you use them, and one of the things you do is you try to keep the temperature in the tanks at the right level, correct?
Yeah,
What
68
temperatures do you
degrees.
shoot for? What?
Yeah, 68 degrees for a good overall. And I think once you start getting above 68 degrees, what we found is some different things start to express that we don't want to be expressed when we're doing some of our biologicals. That's the number we kind of shoot for, 68 to 72 degrees. Um, as far as when we're doing our microbial blends and in our bioreactors and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what's your experience in a hydro system, degree wise, temperature wise?
In hydro system, it's 68 to 74 would be at the high. Once you get up to 75, you're rolling the dice for anaerobic conditions. You
Yeah.
get up 78, 80, you're just asking for trouble. Then you start having the anaerobic fungi, the ones that grow in stagnant water without oxygen, and those are the root rots and the pythium, some of the bacteria or the fungi that can cause problems in a system. But 68 to 70, like you said, 68 to 72, really a very good target. We want that warmth, but still there would be a lot of dissolved oxygen.
Good,
Right.
good
You
point.
know,
Good point.
and I have brewed. I made years ago. I did some experiments with plant growth pruning rhizobacteria, and I was growing them in the lab on different substrates, and I put them on a hot plate stirrer, just to keep it warm and to keep the water moving for the oxygen, and within a day they were just foaming over it because they were so active.
Yeah, I know many of our customers have water chillers as well
Hmm.
in some of their recirculating hydro systems. Um, and that leads me to some other questions. The deep water culture. We do have many customers that do deep water culture, and in my experience, that tends to lead to more problems from what I've encountered. I'm sure you've had experience with that. Um, I think the problems they encounter is from the stagnant water and the temperatures getting too warm in the deep water culture. I'm sure you've had quite a bit of experience with that.
Yeah, yeah, deep water culture in semi-aeroponic systems, with a really high amount of oxygen. They are they're great when everything is right. In fact, you can't beat it. It's like a race car. But as soon as something goes wrong, it can go really wrong and really fast. So I've seen it. I saw a system in Flint years ago. Remember the Flint water crisis
Yeah.
everybody talked about with the lead in the water? Well, there was a grower in Flint using city water, and everything would be going on. And he had deep water culture, recirculating deep water. Everything was good. Then all of a sudden, I'm talking in 3 days, the plants would just die out of nowhere. And there was stuff growing in the water. And I thought, what is going on here? That in fact, he brought me in just to solve that problem as a consultant. I said, "Oh, no problem. We'll get this one under control. You know, I've been doing this long enough. The more we cleaned the water, Brandon, the more we cleaned it, the worse it got. If we were adding hydrogen peroxide dosing, we could knock it down. It would come back even worse. We added UV sterilization to the system. Nothing. We had RO water, a reservoir of RO water. It's just pure water. And there was so much bacteria in it, you could literally run your fingers through the surface and scoop it up.
Wow.
And I thought, oh man. And we tried everything. I got what do they call it? An ORP. I don't know if you measure ORP or not. Do you?
Mm-mm.
I mean,
No.
ORP, oxidation reduction potential.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I haven't.
That's just another tool, sort of like a measuring dissolved oxygen, but really you're measuring the cleaning power of the water. So we were doing measurements, we were doing all this stuff. And in the end, you know what I told him to do?
Start
Take the
over.
plants. How'd you guess? I said, take the plants out. No, we tried starting over too. And replaced
Okay.
all the pipes, all the filters, even the pumps, just really started over. Still happened because it was the source water. It was an indicator before the Flint water crisis. It was an indicator that the infrastructure was starting to fail. And I should have known. I probably should have sent a warning out to somebody when that happened. But anyway, I could
What
tell
was
you
the
why we're
solution again?
having trouble.
I'm
Huh?
sorry to interrupt you. What was the solution again, though?
Well, the solution was I said it's like cutting my arm off, right? With hydroponics, say take them out, plant them in soil. That's what I told them to do. Take them out of that system, plant them into soil, because the more we cleaned it, then we were cleaning out all the competitive microorganisms. So it had no competition. And what I realized it was what they call a symbiont. It was a combination of a bacteria and an algae living together as one organism.
Hmm.
So the algae was taking carbon dioxide out of the air, making sugars. The bacteria was taking nitrogen out of the air for nitrogen, and then they put the two together, and then the bacteria was making a slime that would protect the algae from anything that was trying to clean it. So it was a super bug. And the problem was that slime would start to build up on the roots, and then the roots would become anaerobic. The roots themselves couldn't get the oxygen for metabolism, and then you get secondary infections with the pythium and the rots. So the answer was, as much as I hated to do it, take them out. So we did. We took them out, transplanted into soil, and they recovered. It wasn't the greatest harvest in the world because they had already been affected, but they recovered, and at least he got something out of the deal. And he ended up selling his deep water culture system on eBay. And I'm sure it worked pretty well for whoever bought it because they didn't have the Flint water to deal with that had all kinds of microorganisms and some crazy ones as well. Yeah. And Brandon, it was growing. You're not going to believe this. It was actually growing on the gaskets in the RO filter.
Oh my goodness.
There was slime on there. Just that much. I mean, so I knew it wasn't the system. It was coming from the source water. But
was this a clear slime? Was this a clear slime?
Yeah, it was a slime, and it was thick.
Probably some like a rod-shaped bacteria or something like that.
Well, it was the combination of the bacteria and the algae, because I did take samples to a microbiology lab out on the west coast of Michigan, and they put it under the microscope and they saw that there was an algal component to it. And so, yeah, that was just one of those things where nature finds a way, and they needed to have more competition to make it work. So it was a shame, but I thought for sure my friend wouldn't be my friend anymore since that's what I ended up telling him. But we've been close ever since too, because when it's like being in the trenches with an army buddy, we were fighting together for so long, and blood, sweat, and tears, that it actually brought us closer together as friends in the end. So,
and that's good.
That's the good news.
Yeah, see what soil can do. You took the plants out, put them in soil, then your relationship strengthened, best friend, and soil does so much.
Yeah. It was a while before he was gun shy. It was a while before he even wanted to do hydroponics in any form again. But he ended up being the director of cultivation for a big hydroponic grow here in Michigan for years. So he got over it, but we never did the only time we did the aeroponic type stuff was for rooting clones.
Right. Boy, good experience. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get you some of that product shipped over to you. And yeah, just play around with it, experience, what you think. I'd love to hear some of your comments on it, but I'll get some coming your way.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Yeah, another great coffee talk. Another great morning sharing some coffee.
Hey, do you have a name for that new product yet?
We have not named it. No.
Okay. Send in suggestions. No, just kidding. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Brandon. It's good talking to you as always. We'll see you next week.
Okay. And we're always open to suggestions.
Okay. Well, guess what? My class tonight that I'm doing in the Master Grower Short Course is on microbial inoculants and compost tea. And I'm going to be talking about the superstars of the rhizosphere and how they work together. So it's going to be a cool one tonight.
Very important. Yeah, very important.
Okay. See you next week.
Well, good. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, we'll chat with you soon. All right. See you.